Alright, so today we are dyeing our hair.
Actually, for every question that we get wrong, we're doing a question thing, and every question we get wrong, the other person's getting pied. No, just kidding.
Bonk.
JK.
We got hair dye
Yeah.
from Canada.
So today's episode is a little bit differently. The setup is different. We're also in a different environment. Me and Nancy are just gonna be dyeing our hair, and then
Chewy's gonna be telling us scary stories.
Gonna be reading stories.
yes, and we'll be reacting.
Scary
So-
stories.
Okay, should we start off by mixing everything first and then... Unless you want to just start reading right now.
I think we can get into it,
We
and
should
we
get
can
into
like
it.
prep while he's doing it.
Mhm.
It's a three-step. So it's just put that in that, shake it, and then bump it.
And bop it.
Bump it.
But I heard you're not supposed to shake it. You're
No,
supposed
you're
to like.
so like this.
Please don't do that.
Why? What is it?
Because you're like, shake it, and I'm like,
Oh.
don't do that.
Okay, so I'm doing like an ash, midnight ash. So it's just gonna be black with like a little bit of blue. I hope it turns out a little like ashier, but I don't know.
Like more gray.
Yeah, like a little like gray blue moment.
And then I am doing milk tea brown because I've been seeing it on TikTok a while back. And because my hair is black, I think it's just gonna be like a brown color-ish. So
It'll lighten your hair.
it'll lighten my hair definitely. With number 1. Right by the mic. And how long do you shake it for? How many times do we shake it?
It's in Japanese. Okay, I'm shaking it.
Oh
Oh.
my god, I have a bubble. How do I get rid of the bubble? You see it?
Don't pop it in your eye, especially now with contacts on.
You can see it. Camera.
Oh.
Oh, I just squeezed the bottle.
Oh.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
We'll be right back after this commercial. No, just kidding.
Okay, we're back.
We're back. Nancy went to go grab some hair clip things.
All right, you guys ready for the first story then?
Yep.
So this one is called Red Eyes.
Oh, God.
When I was 5 or 6 years old, my sister and I used to share a room. Most nights, my older sister and I would see 2 distinct figures. She would see a lady in white standing in the doorway directly in front of my bed. I would see a man with red eyes, or at least I thought it was a man. That's all I could see were his red eyes. Sorry, that pause. Though my sister could see the lady, she said she never spoke to her. She just stood there getting closer every night. While I, on the other hand, would see a pair of bright red eyes staring at me from the closet. A disembodied masculine voice would whisper, "JJ, come to the closet and play,"
Hell no.
over and over again.
That's a no for me.
Sometimes my older sister and I would jump into each other's bed and hide under blankets until morning. This was going on for months until my dad decided to get the house blessed. We never saw them after that. I'm 24 now, and my wife and I recently had a baby. I've been having some weird dreams recently. They would start with me standing in my son's room, staring at the closet, and the familiar set of red eyes would stare back at me. My most recent dream, he actually spoke.
Dream.
Yeah.
So his voice a lot deeper and booming than I remember. "You didn't come play with me, but your son may be the one to play,"
Oh my god.
he said before I woke up.
You passed on the ghost.
Yeah, that's what
Oh
they're
my
saying.
God.
Yeah. I called my dad and told him about the whole thing. He told me he remembers me telling him about this dream many years ago. But then, just then, he went silent for about 5 minutes.
The dad?
Yeah, the dad.
Okay.
When he spoke again, he recounted seeing the same figure as a child.
Wow, his dad passed it too.
Yeah.
No way.
So he said he also told
I'm
me
nervous.
that he remembers having the same dreams
Is that what you're
after
telling?
he was born.
I'm over here like, wow, really? No, I was just telling Nancy, I was like, I'm nervous. Okay, repeat that though. What'd you say?
Yeah, so then the dad also said that he remembered having the same dream after
God.
he was born.
Forehead review. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yep. That's it. That's the first
Whoa.
story.
So
So,
yeah, okay. It's a generational curse.
yeah, people are saying that generational curses. Someone said, man, someone should have played with him.
Hell nah.
So,
See, okay. Give me generational trauma, sure, but don't give me no generational curse. I don't want no generational ghost.
yeah. So that's the first one. When we were kids, we went to a church camp. Right.
Uh-huh.
There was a story going around that like people were seeing like these yellow eyes outside of their cabins,
Mhm.
and then every night the kids were all like, look, see if we can find it.
Oh hell nah.
You never saw it, huh?
Never saw it. All right, so here's the next one. The next story. It's a Hmong story.
Oh,
So,
those are the ones that scare me.
yep, these are the ones that are scary. So this one, I think she has like multiple parts for this one. So I'm just gonna read it.
Well, you can kind of see it turning a little blue on the nozzle.
Really?
A little ashy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you gotta keep track of yours. You should probably go a little faster so one part doesn't develop more than the other.
You know what? Let me just undo this clip then, and I'm going at it all at the same time then.
Yeah, because mine is fine. 'Cause it's not gonna lighten my hair, but yours is gonna lighten your hair. So you don't want to be too slow about it. One part is gonna be like lighter than the other.
Hopefully my under part.
All right.
Okay.
So it was late summer 2006. My then boyfriend, now husband, Luke, had just returned from a 12-month tour.
Luke or Luke?
Luke.
Oh.
Okay.
12 months tour in Kuwait. He was a part of the USAR.
Oh.
Okay.
We planned to get married as soon as he got back. Going by a Hmong custom, he picked me up and took me to his parents' house. There, my future father-in-law performed a blessing ritual, which included a live chicken.
Yep.
As we stood before the front door. He moved the chicken in a circular motion around our heads and asked our ancestors to accept me into their household. We were then ushered into the house to greet the rest of the family. It was a great day. Until that night. That would be the first time I experienced the paranormal.
Mm.
So the house was cramped with 3 families. The father-in-law, mother-in-law, the older brother-in-law, his wife, several underage kids, the second oldest brother-in-law, along with Luke and I. That's a lot of people in one house.
For real.
But that's very Hmong for you,
That
though.
is very Hmong.
So it was a typical 2-story home. As soon as you enter the front door, there was a miniature entryway with a short staircase leading up to the living area and another set of stairs going down to the basement. Couldn't have been more than 7 or 8 steps each. Sorry, that was really weird. The entire basement was covered in hardwood flooring. There was a large area in the basement that had a bunk bed against 2 walls and a twin-size bed next to it in the middle of the room. We stayed up late with Luke's nephew, Vash, and Jesus.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's the name. Exchanging ghost stories in the living room. It was around midnight when we decided it was time to crash. My father-in-law had told us earlier that since there wasn't any room for us to sleep, we could squeeze into the twin-size bed in the basement for the night. Luke's 2 nieces, Amy and Susie, were sleeping on the bunk bed. Luke and I made our way into the basement. We didn't bother to turn on any lights. Instead, we felt our way to the twin bed.
Oh heck nah, man. I always turn on lights, or I always use my phone as a flashlight.
Yeah,
Well, this might be before.
I don't know.
smartphones.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
I was the first to crawl in. Just as I was about to lay back, the hair on the back of my neck and arms stood up. A strange feeling washed over me, and I felt the urge to look up. I wish I hadn't. So remember, it's like dark.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Hell no.
There on the top bunk was the shrouded black figure of a little girl looking directly at us.
Oh my god.
She was all black. There was no face. Everything was black.
Everything was black or
Yeah.
wet black?
It was black.
Oh, okay.
She was small. Couldn't have been that tall because the top bunk wasn't that far below the ceiling. I could only tell it was a girl because of the horribly tangled black hair
Oh my
hanging
god.
over her face and shoulders.
It's always that.
It's always black hair.
Yeah. Well, imagine seeing a ghost girl with a bob cut. That's not scary.
Instead, I'd be judged. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go
I'd be
ahead.
judged. I'm like, oh god, that's a typical Asian haircut.
Yeah.
The ghost got it too.
I panicked and jumped under the covers, pulling the blanket over my head, and began shaking with fear. Luke was confused and didn't know what had gotten over me. He yanked the blanket down and asked me what I was doing.
Shit, so foamy. How is mine not as foamy as yours? Am I doing it right? I'm like, Nancy's is so foamy. I'm like, whoa. Did I not do mine right?
Is it coming out foamy?
It is. So I'm like, it's coming out. I'm rubbing it. Then I put it in. But I'm like, Nancy's is so foamy.
Yeah, I'm literally. I probably it's just that. I have so much more though, but.
Okay, save some for me later. Alright. So Luke yanked the blanket down and asked what I was doing. I reached up and pulled him by the neck, whispering in his ear, "Look at the top bunk."
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, that's what he said. He says, "Huh?"
Huh?
He looked at me like I was crazy, so I whispered more. "Look at the top bunk." What scared me the most was how he reacted. Luke jumped into bed and we both huddled under the blankets.
Oh, shit.
Thanks,
Hell no.
husband.
Well, I would just get out of there. Why would you just
Jump in
hide?
as well.
Yeah. Terrified of what was up there, after what seemed to be like an eternity, it couldn't have been more than 5 minutes. Luke said, "Fuck this, I'm telling my dad," and took off around the corner and up the stairs. I panicked yet again and I screamed, "Wait for me!"
Bro, he's just gonna leave her?
We raced up the stairs to the living room where Vash and Jesus were awake and talking. We're still awake and talking. I was in tears. By the time we reached the landing, I explained to Vash and Jesus what had happened while Luke filled in with his dad. My father-in-law took a broom from the kitchen and went to the basement. I could hear him sweeping around in the corners and chanting something I couldn't understand. So I didn't know about this, but apparently in Hmong custom, one can use a broom or a peach branch to sweep the area that has paranormal activity or where someone has seen a ghost.
Oh. I didn't know
You would
that
sweep
Pause. I'm gonna put this on. So it's
Okay.
gonna make a lot of noise.
Okay. Nice.
I'm trying to get my underparts.
So going back, so you would sweep from the back of the room and all the corners in the front to the front door, all the while chanting in the old language, asking all the bad spirits to leave your home. In a sense, you'd be sweeping out anything bad that resides in your house. That's with the
Oh, I
broom.
didn't
So
know that.
yeah, my father-in-law came back upstairs to tell us that everything should be all right now and we could sleep in Vash and Jesus' room for the rest of the night. My brother-in-law, the older one, grilled us, asking if what we saw really was a little girl. He had many doubts, saying that it could have been a shadow on the wall or something that we imagined. So during this time, the brother-in-law was also twisting 2 long pieces of red fabric between his hands to create a bracelet. So you know the red bracelets that
yep.
most people wear. So she goes to say, "It wasn't a shadow. I know what shadows look like. It was against. It has to be against a surface, like the floor or the wall. The figure was standing directly in the middle of the top bunk." I also reiterated that Luke and I seen the same thing. It would be too big of a coincidence that we imagined it. Luke later told me that when he saw the little figure. He felt horrible chills go down his spine.
Oh my gosh.
So that was my first big welcome into the family.
Oh,
A
shit.
small hello from the spirits. But little did I know, it was just the beginning.
Oh, so that's what you mean by
There's more parts.
More parts.
Oh my gosh.
That was part 1.
That's
I feel like we're like listening to like those movies where they're like part 1 and then part 2 and then part 3 and stuff like that, you know, or like season 1 and 2.
Hmm.
My God, we're doing that right now.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys remember the scary stories I tell you about my house?
Nope.
Where
I choose not to.
where like my brother would see me walk around the house,
Yeah.
but I
we
wasn't
were.
home.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
specifically you?
I don't know.
Ah.
It was always me though. That's what he said.
Oh,
Yeah.
creepy.
And then one time he saw my mom's. So our basement is where like our laundry is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So and the stairs that go down is very like steep.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're standing in the basement and you're looking up the stairs, you can see like the top of it.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, yeah.
So my brother was doing the laundry, and he like was done, so he was gonna go back, right? But he turned, looked up the stairs, and saw 2 legs standing there. Yeah, but like it looked like my mom's legs, right?
Oh hell no.
But then it just like turned and walked away, and then my brother went upstairs and was like, "Mom, did you come to? Do you need something?" And my mom's like, "No, I didn't go anywhere."
Terrifying.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I'd be scared of that stuff. I have when I was in college, I would go to HSA, which is the Hmong Student Association.
Mhm.
And around this time, they always did like, ooh, come to our event. We're going to share scary stories and watch scary movies and stuff. And some people would share their scary movies, and I would go, and I'd be so scared. And I'm like, thank the Lord Jesus, I never experienced this stuff. Because it looks like, whenever I put my hair to the side, I'm like, it looks wet. But it looks
Yeah.
wet as if I'm taking a shower.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm watching myself in the camera. I look like I'm taking a shower with no water.
All right, so we'll go part 2.
Okay.
IT guy.
You're
It's gonna
stepping
read.
in.
Ooh.
IT guy, Chinese IT guy.
IT guy.
I guess.
Incoming. You have a nice baritone voice.
Not really. Alright,
Has a tired voice.
I am. I'm exhausted. Hungover. A long story. It was just the beginning part. Part 2.
Ooh.
A little more background of myself. I grew up in a family that wasn't very religious, although my parents came from families that practiced shamanism. My parents weren't particularly devout. I have a paternal uncle who's a pastor. He encouraged us to go to church.
See the phone.
It's finally working.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Just like scrunch it. Like, all right, moving on. He encouraged us to go to church, and I recall going a few times in my youth. But that was all the exposure I had to Christianity and God. My maternal relatives were more devout with shamanism, and I spent most of my youth attending ceremonies at their house. My family only did one ceremony a year during the Hmong New Year. My parents weren't big on the whole spiritual stuff, so I wasn't really exposed to any of that. Imagine my surprise then when I got married and my whole world came crashing down. I was in for a rude awakening. There was so much more to this world than I thought possible.
Sorry, that's it.
My father-in-law is a shaman, and Luke's whole family follows shamanism, as well as all of their relatives. My eyes were open to a whole new world. At first glance, my in-laws' house seemed to be a normal suburban home. As time passed, it became a running joke for most of our relatives and friends to visit the haunted house.
You're still on camera. That's why I was like, what are you doing?
Just get my ass
Still see you.
Let me just get my ass up.
Want my gosh, you can really see Nancy's color now. That's crazy.
It's so blue now.
Oh my gosh, can I do my hair too?
Yeah.
You wanna?
Yeah.
Impromptu hair dye with Chewy now. Originally, we told him to get his own hair dye. Oh my god, my hair looks so stupid.
Can you fit these?
Anyways, we're telling Chewy
Sweet.
we're
Got
in
it?
Canada
Yeah,
to get his own hair dye, right? But Chewy's like, nah. But also, we also couldn't really find a hair dye that he wanted or liked. But now that Nancy has some leftover dye, he's gonna dye his hair too.
I'm a follower.
Yeah.
Y'all suck. Y'all could have done this.
So you just put it in your hair?
Yeah, you literally just put it in your hair and lather it like shampoo.
Yeah, you should have fucking got some. You know, so mine, you can dye yours the same color as
Going
mine.
back.
You might actually have some left over.
Well, apparently I'm supposed to use it all, but my god, your skin is dying blue.
I know. I got it on my ear and I was like, oh no, my ear's gonna be
Uh-oh.
blue.
I got my ear too.
It's fine. It'll wash out. That's why I was like, I don't have any Vaseline.
Okay, back to the story.
Yes, back to the story.
Several of my cousins has paranormal experience while visiting. Things such as sleep paralysis to seeing entities / beings that others couldn't. A year after Luke and I got married, all my in-laws moved down south for a different line of work. We were the only ones left, including my youngest brother-in-law, Ben. There were 3 bedrooms on the upper level of the house
Getting
and
it
1
all over your
bedroom
skin.
in the basement.
Dude, you're gonna dye your skin
I have
to.
a blue face. Sorry.
Luke and I occupied the one in the basement, while Ben chose his old bedroom on the upper level. Both bedrooms faced the front of the house. Ben worked nights and came home late, too many times to count. Luke and I would hear footsteps treading across the living room floor above our
Wait, do you
heads.
even have the mic? Oh, you. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Never mind.
It wasn't particularly loud, more like shuffling, but distinct enough that we could make it out. At first, we thought it may have been our imagination, so we ignored it. As it persisted night after night, we spoke of it in an effort to gain some measure of confidence. Luke said it could just be Ben, come home from work. Sadly, that wasn't the case. When Ben came home, you would know. I hear him slam the door shut, kick off his shoes, take the stairs, go to his room, and shut his bedroom door. We both knew it wasn't Ben. Sensor lights were set in the basement hallway and outside the house by the attached garage. The lights in the basement would turn on and off at all times of the day and night,
That's scary. Yeah.
whether we were home or not.
Wait, they said it was sensor lights?
Mm-hmm.
I hate sensor lights. I don't do that. I don't do those.
That's why, like, sometimes the backyard, the lights
Dude,
go off.
I know.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
just possums or something.
We moved out after 2 years of living in that house. Too many unexplained things had happened and we didn't want to deal with it anymore. The house was left in the custody of the bank for a few years after we gone. There were people who tell us that when they drove by the house or saw it from across the street,
Get it on your pants.
they could see lights turn on in all random areas. They could see lights turn on in all random areas of the house, although there weren't any occupants.
Wow, new hairstyle.
New hairstyle unlocked.
Am I in your life?
Ooh, you
Back
gonna
in
go
the-
beat your ass.
Back in the days when I was younger, whenever the Hmong boys had like mohawks or anything like that, my parents were like, "Oh, look at those minion lights." That's basically Hmong
Everyone
for like
wanted to be-
gangsters.
Everyone want to be Taeyang.
Yeah. Wow. I do not look good with this hairstyle. If I were to ever
Girl,
do
you
this.
still got your sideburns all dry.
What the heck? I swear I'm swiping it up.
It's dry.
I'm getting it on my skin then. I'm just gonna. Because I literally go like this and I'm like,
A couple of things that occurred in the house. Luke and I threw a little get together for our friends and family. Everyone was on the upper level drinking and partying. Ben's girlfriend, Lucy, and I were in the basement standing in the bottom of the staircase, talking about something or other. I can't quite recall. Luke's cousin, Jim, came down the steps and stopped just short of us, talking on his cell. We were minding our own business, carrying on with our conversation. Suddenly, I saw a dark shrouded black figure float towards us from the long hallway leading towards the attached garage. It was hovering a few inches off the ground. It wasn't solid, but it wasn't see-through either. I can't even describe it. Whatever it was, it floated past all three of us, went up the stairs, and then around the corner and up the next set of stairs to the living room. There was a shocked silence for almost half a minute. Jim's eyes were huge as he calculated. Did I say calculated? I said calculated. Oh my god, I'm dumb. As he clutched. No.
I was like, He calculated what to do.
Calculated
Something
what?
like.
That sounds right.
Yeah, you're like, did I say calculated? I meant clutch. Those are two different words.
My bad.
Stop there.
As he clutched his cell phone to his ear with his mouth hanging open. My eyes darted back and forth between Jim and Lucy, who I noticed had the what the fuck look on her face. We looked at each other for another moment and then begun the rounds of, did you see that? What the fuck was that? I saw it too. We all made sure that we seen the same thing. I think being together made it easier to bear. Power in numbers and all that. With stupid looks on our faces. We went upstairs to see if anyone else had noticed the shrouded figure, but no one saw anything. During this,
Sorry. Should you look like a mobster?
You do.
You do?
Like grease. Grease in your hair.
Oh my god, the dye on your head.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, but
You did it so messy. I'm watching you just like.
yeah, it's like woo.
during this same party, Molly, the wife of Luke's cousin, got locked in the upstairs
Oh,
bathroom.
hell no.
Right.
Now
Locked.
why?
Locked, yes.
Why in the hell would you do that?
This bathroom was super creepy. It was
Oh, heck
small
no.
and cramped, dimly lit, with a mirror that looked like it came straight out of the rain.
Oh my god.
Molly had gone to use the bathroom, and on her way out, the door refused to unlock for her.
Oh,
Several of us tried to push the door open from the hallway to no avail. She pulled from inside the bathroom. According to Molly, the door was already unlocked. I can't remember how long she was locked in until the door finally opened. Molly and her husband left soon after. There is a
Molly
part three.
said, screw this.
She said, bye bitches, I'm out.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. If my friend had a haunted ass house, I would not be going to any parties. I would not be going anywhere in the house.
AKA Joey.
Yeah.
No,
my
we
house.
would want to go there.
Yeah, I do. Like, guys, come here for a Halloween party.
No.
You would specifically find a house that's haunted
Yeah.
and then move in.
Have you guys, I'm talking to the audience. Have you guys ever seen those TikToks where it's like you're the random, like boyfriend just minding his own business and then girlfriend randomly starts singing? I feel like that's me. Whether it's girlfriend or whether it's just friend. Sometimes I'm just sitting there and next thing you know, I'll just break out and start humming something. Anyone else able to relate? Write it down in the comments.
I do see your hair turning brown already.
Yeah,
Really?
it's getting lighter.
Alright, you guys ready for part 3?
Okay.
Yes.
Part 3. A year goes by after Luke and I get married. Our daughter had just been born, and my in-laws recently moved down south. It was our little family and my youngest brother-in-law, Ben, who stayed behind and lived in that house. For some reason, Ben and I were the main target of these spirits and entities.
Damn.
I'm not sure if it was because we didn't cling strongly to any faith at that time.
I also feel like my brother kept seeing me in the house a lot because I was the only one that was really going to church. So that's why I also assumed
It was trying to bring you back.
that, or like, I don't know.
Oh my god.
Maybe I was just getting
Don't
targeted.
tell me that. It's gonna give me goosebumps.
Ben would experience sleep paralysis for almost every night and up to 3 times a night
Oh my god.
if it pleased him.
Oh my god.
He began staying up super late into the early morning hours, playing games on his computer. When the sun came up, he would finally crash from exhaustion, but sleep fitfully. 3 months after my daughter was born,
Oh my god, it's all over my
I found out I was pregnant again. 2 months later, I suffered a horrible miscarriage that almost killed me.
That's sad.
Dude, if we do this, we gotta do it at night.
Nuh-uh.
I mean, I could rent a hotel that was built on top of an asylum.
I'm good.
Why would you do that?
You can do it.
Let's go. I'm down.
That's what you want.
We are dying already.
What? I thought I was taking a shower. No, just kidding. I would dye my eyebrows too, but I don't really have any eyebrows anyways, so I don't think it matters. Oh, but God, my hair flipped back and it smacked me in the eye, but I closed my eye all the time.
That would hurt.
Yeah. Do 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 do
Hey, my hair's falling out.
do 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 do. Oh, see, look, I broke out of music.
Welcome to the gang, brother. Thanks, brother.
How do I do this?
Nancy.
That's
There we go.
Perfect. Oh my god, I didn't even get all my hair in the bag. And I'm back. While my co-host Nancy is away, I'll just keep you guys. Oh, she's right here.
Look, if we get like 1,000 subscribers,
Oh my god, I almost died.
look, if we get 1,000 subscribers, let's do it.
I'm not doing it.
What are you talking about?
We
Go-
could get 1 million subscribers, and I'm never doing it. Let me give you guys a moment of ASMR. Everybody, shut up.
Hear your fucking bag crinkling.
You know, that's why I started laughing. I was like, oh my god, you can't even hear the chip, you just gonna hear my bag.
Yeah, so I have the condition in now. So I guess I'll just sit there for like 30 minutes and see it.
Okay.
Alright.
And then I'll dry my hair after.
If we get 1,000 subscribers, us three have to come. Yes, you have to.
What are you
Something-
talking about?
We gotta go to a haunted house.
That's a no for me.
So I'm just going to start from the paragraph again. So 3 months after my daughter was born, I found out that I was pregnant again. 2 months later, I suffered a horrible miscarriage that almost killed me. Bleeding profusely, I was rushed to the ER by a friend who had been visiting. We left a note for Luke, who'd gone grocery shopping. He later showed up at the ER during an ultrasound. We found out that the fetus was still alive, even though blood was gushing out from my body. Same as if a pig were being slaughtered. I was given the option of waiting to see if the fetus would expel by itself, or if I wanted to have an operation operated on. I refused to let them operate. My baby was still alive, and I was going to keep it alive. Blood continued to gush out endlessly. After almost 3 hours, another ultrasound was done. Isn't that bad? Can't you die from that?
Yeah.
Blood loss, yeah. But the fetus was still alive, although barely. I was chalk white, and all my strength sapped away. This time, the doc insisted that they needed to operate and remove the fetus. If I kept this up any longer, I could die. I looked at Luke with tears in my eyes. He knew what I was thinking. My baby was still alive. Why did I have to make this choice? In the end, though, I gave my consent. I was rolled into the operating room where they gassed me up to sleep. That's a really interesting way of saying that. After what seemed like minutes, I woke up in a postpartum room. Luke was sleeping in a chair next to my bed. Oh, this is a hospital experience. Dude,
Oh,
hospital
God.
experiences are the worst.
Those are scary.
Luke was sleeping in a chair next to the bed. I didn't hear until later that I lost so much blood that I had to give up. I had been given quite a bit of blood transfusion. I laid in bed, groggy and unable to sleep. So many things were going through my mind. I was sad and shocked at the loss that I sustained. Sheets had been drawn around my bed so I could have some privacy. Through a crack in the sheet, I saw a shrouded black figure pacing back and forth in the room, in the front of the door. I didn't bother waking up Luke. Instead, I turned on my side and looked at the other side of the room. I'm like, oh, turn around.
Mhm.
I didn't care about any stupid entity or spirit. I cared more about the baby I could never hold. 2 days later, I came home from the hospital. That's when things began to escalate. I began to see a man who would always watch me from afar. He was Caucasian. Of that, I was sure. He wasn't solid, and I could see through him. He was almost misty, especially around the edges. When you're standing in 100-degree weather on a road and you see that steamy stuff on the road, almost like that.
That's a good description.
That is. Only saw him from his waist up, though. Could never really make out his face. He was always wearing a blue polo. It was really faint, but I could just make out the color. He didn't seem malevolent. Wow. He was just there. When I washed dishes, he would stand behind the counter next to the sink and watch. When I was folding clothes in my bedroom, he would stand in the doorway. When I sat in the living room watching TV, he'd stand off on the hallway and just lurk there. I never see him fully. Um, it was always at the corner of my eye. At first, I was terrified because this was all new to me. After several months went by and it became a regular occurrence, it began to get annoying. Yeah. Too many
that.
things.
I thought it'd be like that.
Yeah. Too many things were happening. After my first miscarriage, I suffered 2 more. Luckily, neither of those were as bad as the first one. I saw black shrouded figures everywhere. The man in the blue polo was everywhere I was. Lights turning on and off throughout the day and night, phantom footsteps. It seemed like it would never stop. All of us took a trip down south to visit Luke's family after almost 2 years of this. Luke's uncle, who was a very respected shaman, was kind enough to examine the spiritual aura of this situation to determine what the factors were. Why I was having so many miscarriages and why I was seeing so many spirits or entities. After a small ritual, Luke's uncle finally relayed to us the answer he had found. I suffered from a miscarriage due to a water demon. Oh, interesting. She says, another story for another time. The man in the blue polo, however, was a completely different story. According to Luke's uncle, the man's spirit was the result of a hit and run accident.
Damn.
The man's spirit had been wandering the roads, lost, searching for his family. He had the misfortune of bumping into him. Oh, I had the misfortune of bumping into him, and so he followed me home.
Damn.
All the time when he appeared to me, he was trying to communicate with me to ask where his family was. Well, cripes, I was scared and annoyed. I didn't want to communicate with anything. Luke's uncle performed a small peace offering ritual to the man's spirit. Paper money was burned to him to use in the spirit world. He was then dropped off on the side of some highway behind a Kmart. Okay, as we were told, and was told to stay there and wait for his family. I don't envy the next unlucky bastard who runs across this man. After that, things got a little better, but only just a little. There's a part 4.
Sad.
Yeah, that is kind of sad though.
Those miscarriages.
Yeah, I used to. Because I was a really sick baby, a sick kid, so I was in the hospital a lot, and my mom would tell me that like she would stay there with me throughout the nights, and she would like always get sat on at like
Don't tell me that.
at night.
Ah! I know, my head like so focused.
Yeah, so I think that my mom took it for me while she was there, so
Could have been you.
could have been me. I was drugged up. I wouldn't know. All right, so loading part 4. After Luke and I moved out to my in-laws' house, it seemed that whatever began there has followed me since.
Damn. Bruh,
Dude,
even when
she's
you're
a
not
girl.
living in the goddamn house,
Yeah,
I would be so pissed. I love her.
it's become the norm for me to see things that others can't see, whether in my own home, other people's home, or the outdoors. I get feelings now, even if I can't see anything. They aren't really strong feelings, just nudging feelings I'll get in my stomach to alert me that something isn't right. Never really understood the sixth sense until I began to experience it personally.
Damn.
3 years after our daughter was born, and my 3 miscarriages, a son was born to us.
Mm.
We were so happy that we gave him a Hmong name that literally translates blessing. What would that be? Blessing. Hmong would be.
Mm. I want to say like Fuki, but I don't know.
Isn't that strength?
Is it?
I think it's strength.
Oh.
Anyways, he was a little bundle. He was a little bundle of joy, but the spirit world still liked to play tricks. I'll just keep calling him Blessing. Don't want to give out his real name.
Okay.
Good. Blessing was extremely attached to me. He refused to go to anyone else. Even Luke was unable to console him. Only once in a while would he go to someone else, but only for a short time. Just a glance from someone else besides me was enough to make him was enough to begin the waterworks. This went on for several months. Oh, he was one of those babies.
Sounds like my niece.
whenever IT guy would come in.
It's funny.
Luke's oldest brother came up to visit with his family that summer. Of course, Blessing refused to go to any of them and kept up with all the tears all weekend long. Although my brother-in-law isn't a shaman, he's old enough to know how things work in the spirit world and knows a trick or two. He picked up Blessing in his arm, pressed a $10 bill into his little fist, and stroked his back stroked his head from the back to the front several times. During this, he told Blessing that he to not be shy anymore, to be able to recognize family members and to stop the tears. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. A Hmong superstition and custom: you should never stroke a child's head from from front to back. It is considered bad luck, and that you're stroking away the child's good fortune. If you must, always stroke from the back to front. So not front to back, but back to front.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So like this, or like this.
Yeah. So not even 10 minutes go by and Blessing's tears stopped. Instead of fear, he began looking at everyone with curiosity. I hand him off to all my relatives, and how about that? No tears.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I was relieved. My brother-in-law said that the spirit world had covered Blessing's eyes with a veil so that he couldn't see us clearly. Interesting. As his mother, I was the only familiar being, which was why he was so attached. Not quite sure the reason behind why the spirit world would cover his eyes with a veil, but I do know he's not the first child to go through this. So not exactly a scary experience, but one that opens your eyes to the sort of things that you encounter in shamanism. This was another occasion. The night of October 22nd, 2013, very specific, sometime after midnight. In that case, the early morning of October 23rd. Luke and I had turned off all the lights and were ready to sleep. I snuggled up to him and talked about my day when I heard some soft footsteps at the foot of my bed. I thought it might have been Blessing, who was 3-year-old at this point. Blessing had a tendency to creep into my room a couple of times throughout the night for a milk refill. As soon as the footsteps stopped, I felt something tug hard at the blanket.
Oh my God.
Right by the feet.
It's always the blanket.
It pulled so hard that my toes curled downward. I jerked up and began crying. Luke got out of the bed and turned on the lights. There was nothing there. He calmed me down and went to sleep.
Did he feel it too?
Right.
Yeah.
He acted like nothing happened.
Fast forward to the early morning, about 5 a.m., Luke told me that he was rolling around trying to get into a comfortable position. He lifted his leg and it made a hard contact with the body, almost as if he was kicking a person in the face. He pulled the blanket down to see if there was anything around, but
Gonna nick
nothing.
his foot.
Oh my god, don't say that.
But Luke was too tired to care, so he went back to sleep. Funny thing about Luke, he rarely, if ever, sees anything. The guy doesn't scare easy. I don't know, that's why he ran out the corner. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell my
Screw this, I'm getting dead.
even though even during the far and the few times he's experienced sleep paralysis, he never gets scared. Instead, he gets angry. Luke will fight the pressure on top of his chest, ball his hands into a fist, and come up swinging every time. Luke is what our elders call big-hearted, one who doesn't scare easily. Unfortunately, I'm the exact opposite. The elders will call me small-hearted, one who is scared easily. That's also the reason why I'm always getting plagued by the spirit world. They tend to target the weak. Later that morning, though, I asked Luke to take a peach branch and sweep around our bedroom and out the front door. I was terrified to sleep in the bedroom for a while. To be continued. But also, I have had experiences where, like, I had a sleep paralysis one time.
Don't tell me.
Tell me.
And
Let me just.
so one time I had a sleep paralysis, right? And I couldn't move, but I could open my eyes.
Oh god.
And, like, it's kind of hard to, like, breathe too. But then, you know when someone gets on your bed, you can feel the bed go,
Yeah.
like, you know,
So
and
you
you
feel the
kind of, like,
shift.
yeah, so you shift a little bit. But yeah, so that's what happened. And I felt it, like, started from, like, by the feet in my bed.
Oh my god.
And it was, like, it was as if someone was, like,
Taking
like,
a step.
yeah.
Or walking.
well, like, they were, like, over me. So, like, you know, they were, like, this. And I'm,
Yeah.
like, this, you know?
Oh my god.
So,
Did you see anything?
no. I just felt the pressure
You
of
just
the
felt
bed.
it. That's
Yeah.
Scary. Really?
The ends are dark, but the top of my head is like
Oh, it is lighter.
a light
yeah.
brown now, which is funny because that is not.
Does it look different? Does it look blue?
You can tell that it looks different, but it looks just like a brown.
What?
Like some sort of brown.
It's
It'll be
supposed
funny
to
if
be.
you got it was mixed up.
No.
No way! It was blue. It's literally
know.
blue right here.
I know, but I was just saying it'll be funny if it was.
Yeah, it literally does not look blue at all. It's just brown.
Maybe you have to wait for it to kind of settle a little bit more.
Maybe.
It looks a little gray, like a grayish brown.
I don't see your
Yeah,
change either.
It's just like a brown now. It definitely lightened my hair a little
Yeah.
bit in the root section, but yeah, my hair is just like. Eh.
just black.
See, okay, so this is false advertisement then, because
Yeah.
on the box it says you'd still get like a little tint if
Yeah.
you have dark brown hair, which I do have dark brown hair, but it's not really anything.
Yeah.
This is a catfish. Look at her hair. That's supposed to be blue. Catfish. Shoei wants a fresh start on his hair, so we were gonna shave his head. But I guess you decided to dye it just for teehees. But that's okay. I wasn't expecting like a big drastic change with my hair.
Right.
Just cause like I don't think white hair suits me. Yeah, light hair.
Yeah, because you're already a little pale.
Yeah, so I used to dye my hair before and it was like a light brown. My whole head of hair. It was okay, but I think looking back at it now, it did kind of wash me out a little bit. That's why I'm trying to stick to like dark colors. But I used to have a like a peekaboo dyed hair.
Yeah.
That was fun. The upkeep was really annoying though, because my hair grows relatively fast, so you just get a block of black hair and then dyed, and I'm too lazy to keep up with that. So
It was good though.
it was cute. I think I felt the cutest when I had dyed hair. And you know what? It's a good conversation starter because everyone's like, "Oh, I like your hair." "Oh, thanks. I did it myself." And then they're like, "Wow, really?"
Yeah.
I also feel like I got the most compliments from the ladies when I had that hair.
Yeah, men don't really care.
Men don't care. They don't give a fuck. I don't want male attention. I want women. Women attention. Yeah. So I would just rake in all the compliments from all the hot ladies that would compliment me. Damn.
Why does it sound like that?
Now I'm blind.
That does not sound good.
Or bad? Oh my God.
Yeah, is that a good or bad? Oh my god. What is that? Did you clean her ear? What?
The hair changed.
Oh my god.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
Oh,
I
no
threw the
wonder.
conditioner
I'll be
in, and
dodging.
I'm gonna leave it in for a bit, and then I'll go rinse it out again.
Okay. Hair reveal.
Let me just cover it.
You can if you don't want to
No.
give me it.
Oh yeah, I blocked off his paws. Her paws. She's licking them.
All right.
You can't even really tell. Oh my god, it looks
Oh
kind
my
of red.
god, that's crazy.
Looks like a red. Like a chest.
This one's very long.
kind
though.
of.
I got it.
I'm gonna go back and look at.
This one's really long.
Holy
Every long
frick!
one.
Yeah, I would say it's like this.
Really?
This
Yeah.
one's so long.
I read longer.
I was just not expecting that color.
It's gonna
Change.
be lighter.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
than you.
Whoa! I'm telling y'all, if I really do not like it, I'm dyeing it back to black.
All right. The Chinese IT guy's back. Part 5, the final.
It's gonna cut to you being in a towel.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Being plagued with spirits from the other world is not only scary, it can also be expensive. Although shamans are given the power to help heal those who are afflicted with sickness, whether normal or otherworldly, it is a courtesy to repay them for their help. It helps quite a bit if you are related to a shaman who can do little rituals here and there for small things. Otherwise, you're paying out hundreds of dollars. Totally worth it, but it can become quite expensive when it's a common occurrence in your life. There are many different ways for a shaman to appease the spirits. The burning of incense and paper money or animal sacrifices. It depends on the type of ritual or ceremony they are doing. Typical animals used for sacrifices are chickens, pigs, cows, ducks, sometimes goats, and on very rare occasions, dogs. Before there are any misconceptions about the animal sacrifices, I like to assure you that the animals sacrificed are not wasted. They are not slaughtered and then thrown in the trash or left to rot. All the animals are cooked and eaten, with the exception of the dog. The remains of the dogs are buried. As I said in my previous stories, my father-in-law is a shaman, and my in-laws follow shamanism. In 2008, my own parents became Lutherans. There was a conflict of interest in Hmong customs. When a woman marries into a man's family, she generally follows whatever the faith her in-laws follows. Today, it's not as strict as it used to be in the old world, but I still follow that creed. Did it sound like greed or creed?
Creed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
heard greed.
I heard greed. I was
Okay.
like, she follows the greed.
No. I was like, did it sound like I said greed? No.
Greed.
It's creed. Through all this, my parents urged me to turn to God, but I don't feel any strong attachments. I feel that my faith resides with shamanism. Throughout 2014 and 2015, I keep having a lot of dreams that usually ended up with me falling off buildings, ladders, mountains, and bridges.
Damn.
You know those dreams. You somehow end up on a super tall building. The ground races up to meet you, and right when you hit the ground, you wake up with an awful feeling in the pit of your stomach. Also, there was an increase of times I saw other beings around me, shrouded dark figures everywhere, mostly in my own home though. I voiced my concerns to my husband Luke, who seemed to be resigned about everything. He wanted to see if things escalated before consulting a shaman. Ha! Escalated. Yeah, I wanted to punch him in the face.
Yeah, get it together, Luke.
Your wife is seeing things everywhere, having crazy dreams, and you want to see if things escalate before you contact a shaman? Okay, if I die, I swear I'll come back as a ghost and haunt the shit out of you.
Really?
Well, his reason being that we weren't exactly flush with money.
Mm.
When my second oldest when my second oldest brother-in-law Stan came to visit during one of his business trips up north, I confided in him. He was more than understanding and suggested that Luke and I go visit one of our relatives, one who's closer to us in age, late 30s, and recently became a shaman. Perhaps he could shed some light on these occurrences. Luke called our relative, let's call him Tim, and we set up a date and time to meet at his house. Tim and his wife are both in their late 30s and recently became shamans. We didn't tell Tim what we wanted to discuss, just said that we wanted to visit. We showed up at their house and went through the obligatory, how are you? How have you been? What have you guys been up to? Then we got down to business. I looked at Tim and started telling him about my dreams and how I've been seeing things, far more than I usually do. While I was telling him my stories, his legs started moving. The rest of his body was stationary. Only his legs were pumping up and down very fast on the balls of his feet. As soon as I finished, Tim started laughing. He said, I already know what's going on with you. My spirits already told me. You're going to be a shaman.
Her? Plot twist.
Wow.
That's a big plot twist.
That is a big plot twist.
Luke and I looked aghast at each other.
A gasp.
A shaman? You're kidding. My parents will freak out. We asked if Tim could confirm this theory. He said he would do a little ritual in front of his sacred wallpaper altar and find out. Tim burned some incense and paper money and spoke in the old language to the spirits. It took about 5 minutes before he was done. He turned around and said that the spirits have confirmed that I had a shaman spirit.
That makes sense.
Note, not just anyone can be a shaman. You have to be chosen by shaman spirits. Tim told Luke and I that my shaman spirit has been waiting for a long time for me to accept it. Once I accepted it, I would have to find a teacher, one who is a shaman, and begin my training to become an official shaman. The reason I was having dreams of falling off buildings, ladders, and mountains was because the shaman spirit was already starting to prepare me for my duties as a shaman. In the spirit world, I'd be jumping over mountains and buildings, and Lord knows what else. It was also the reason why I was seeing more and more entities. Tim said he made a deal with the shaman spirit to give me 3 days to contact a shaman with more experience to accept the shaman spirit on my behalf and take it from there. Tim suggested that we go to my father-in-law. Oh boy. Tell my father-in-law that I was going to be a shaman? It wasn't even funny. My oldest brother-in-law isn't even a shaman. Why me? We thanked Tim and his wife for their help and came home. I forced Luke to call his dad and tell him what had happened. Luke's dad was disbelieving. Of course I was too. My father-in-law said he would double check with the spirit world and for us to give him a call back the next day for an answer. So the wait began. Note: typically those who are chosen to be shamans are much, much older. They have far more life experience. I'm barely 30. Also, a sign of one becoming a shaman is when they become extremely sick, almost near death, something that cannot be cured with Western medication. I hadn't been sick at all. The next 24 hours dragged by. I was sick with worry. Although I love shamanism, I did not want to be a shaman. I believe that others are meant to become a shaman because they have the qualities that fits a shaman. I knew I was underqualified. Finally, I made Luke call his dad for a checkup. My father-in-law said he'd done a ritual that morning. He spoke with the spirits from the other side and found out that the shaman spirit who was plaguing me was in fact a different spirit that was only pretending to be a shaman spirit.
What? Double the plot twist.
What are all these plot twists?
Believe it or not, that actually exists. Spirits who pretend to be what they are not. It's not unheard of. According to my father-in-law, there are lots of spirits who pretend to be shaman spirits and fool humans like us into believing we are really shamans. To that end, they get money and animal sacrifices. Nice. Real nice. My father-in-law then did a ritual to get rid of that greedy spirit. He said that in 3 days' time, if I still had any falling dreams or saw any entities around, I was to call him and we were prepared to do a blessing ceremony for me. 3 days later, nothing. No more falling dreams, and the entities were gone. Note: not sure why Tim was unable to tell the differences between a real shaman spirit and a fake one. Perhaps it was because he was a new shaman and not very experienced like my father-in-law, who has almost 30 years of experience. Of course, that only lasted so long. We're now in 2016 and I've begun seeing entities again. Not as much before, but they're still there. Once in a blue moon, I would see a shrouded black figure around my home. My feelings have become more acute. A few months ago, I went out to eat with 3 of my close girlfriends. We sat down, ordered our food, and started catching up. I kept getting a nudge feeling in my tummy, like a baby kicking in there. I looked around my girls and started getting suspicious. I knew one of my girls was already pregnant, but there had to be one more. During a lull in the conversation, I came out with, "Okay, which one of you is pregnant? I know someone is. Spill it." One of my other girls got real bashful, blushed, and said, "Yeah, I'm pregnant, but only a month along." I was pretty psyched that I was right, but it was also a slap in the face. What the hell? I was right. Not too long after, we found out Luke's cousin Amy was pregnant. She was pretty far along and already knew the gender of her baby. We didn't know, of course. Scratch cards weren't sent out to all of us. All of Amy's relatives and friends to find out the gender. We didn't receive one. Amy's daughter was so excited about being a big sister. She told my daughter the gender of the baby while they were at school. I told my daughter not to reveal the gender of the baby to me or anyone.
She looks
like a Chinese
auntie.
Hair reveal.
Ready? Ta-da!
You can't really see it
You
in the
can't
camera.
really see, yeah.
It looks like a reddish.
Yeah,
Like brown.
yeah.
Looks like chestnutty.
You can also definitely tell that my top is a little lighter, but
Nice.
wow. I had to blow
You
dry it
like
because
it?
after I rinsed out the conditioner, I was like, it still looks weird. I don't know, but I was like, you know what? I think I need to dry my hair first. And after drying it, I'm like, you know what? It's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is a good undertone for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna dye my next. So going back a little bit, one day I was sitting on the couch thinking about Amy and her baby. I closed my eyes and envisioned her with a belly. Suddenly, I saw a flash of pink and a rosy cheek, and then a nudging feeling in my stomach. Huh? How about that? It's a baby girl. Cool. Well, there
Sounds
was
like that's cheating.
there was only one way to confirm. When I picked up my daughter from school, I asked her to tell me the gender of the baby. Yep, it was a baby girl.
That's cheating because the spirits are telling her what
Yeah.
baby what gender
Yeah.
the baby is. So she should be taken out of the lottery thing.
No, for real.
Amy texted me that night and said my daughter had told her that I'd asked about the gender of her baby. I told Amy I only wanted to confirm if my feelings was right, but of course Amy didn't believe me. I encounter a lot of people who don't believe in the spirit world, other beings, or the supernatural. And that's perfectly okay with me. I wouldn't want to either, except for the fact that I'm supposed to, that I was so exposed to it, it's taken over my life. I try to live my life as normally as I can, and I can say I'm doing pretty well. I've met other people who are like me, ones who have become shamans, or those who are just really exposed to the other side. It's nice to know that we're not alone and can share our stories with each other. Anyways, yeah, she goes on to say, it's been so much fun sharing my stories with everyone here. Although some of you are inclined to not believe me, everything I have written is the truth and nothing but the truth. I hope that these feelings I keep having will help me to become a better person and to use this newfound power, quote unquote, to help others.
Wow.
That's cool.
That's
So,
crazy.
Yeah, that would have been a crazy plot twist if she
she was
did
gonna be
become a
a
shaman.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Dude, she had me in the first half and she was like, Tim said I am a shaman. It was a shaman spirit. I was like, ugh. And then she was like, actually, my father-in-law said that it's a fake spirit
Yeah, it's a
trying
fake.
to pretend. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Double gas.
Wait, so what happens if she lets the spirit in because she thinks it's a shaman spirit?
so then all the sacrifices
Would
and
go to that
would just go
spirit.
to that spirit.
Oh, so even
Mhm.
though they think that they're like getting rid of spirits and like doing all that stuff that shaman people
Mhm.
do, they probably are. But instead of it going to an actual shaman spirit, it's going to like a greedy spirit that is tricking people
So then,
so that he gets the money and the stuff
But then
that
she would
they
just
burn
be
in the afterlife.
She would just be a shit shaman because people would be like, my ghost is still here. Hello?
Yeah. So Yeah.
Wow. That was a pretty long one, actually.
yeah,
Wow.
so I'm glad there was like multiple parts to it.
Yeah.
But
That's really interesting.
That is.
and she wrote it really well too.
She did.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She explained everything really well.
And I love how she threw in notes to give a little bit more like historical information.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's historical, but like when she was like, typically a shaman is like this old and it happens around this time.
Yeah, I didn't know that
Yeah.
shaman people were, or shamans were chosen like later.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
thought you
They're
could
older.
get picked like whenever, but very interesting.
Very
Wow.
interesting.
Anyways,
But yeah.
All right, that
That's
was
it.
a successful hair
Yeah.
dye thing.
just a little fun podcast that we wanted to do today because of the hair dye from Canada. But are we still gonna do the one about the one that you wanted to do with festivals and stuff? Or
Yeah, I think
Okay.
eventually.
cool.
I'm still trying to put that together just
Yeah.
because I'm trying to find stories that don't involve
Yeah.
drugs. So
I
it's
can't
like,
stop looking at myself in the camera now, guys. I'm like,
Oh
wow.
my gosh,
wow.
she's in love.
I actually like it a lot better than I thought I would have, so that's why I'm like, wow.
And you were freaking out.
And
the
I was
entire
freaking out,
time. You know,
yep.
we were supposed to
Yep.
film this in Canada, and this girl kept chickening out, and she would not do it.
I was stalling because okay, so I saw like the hair dye from TikTok, and we went to Canada, and they had it. I was like, oh my god! And so then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy it. So then I bought it, and Nancy's like, we should do it. And I was like, and so I'm like, well, what
Yeah.
else was I gonna do? I
You're
was
the
just
one
gonna-
that wanted to buy the hair dye.
I was just gonna have it sit on the shelf and just stare at it.
That could have been you.
All right.
Okay.
That's
Alright.
the end
See
of
you
our
next
episode.
time.
See you
Yup.
next time.
Bye.
Throw in the music.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.